Hey, amazing parents, welcome back to my channel where we speak everything parenting, especially in terms of relationship and growth in parenting. And this today's topic is going to be slightly different from what I've shared in a few, for the past few weeks. I've been sharing a lot on teenagers. And this time I want to shift gear. I want to talk about relationship versus role in parenting. This sits at the heart of my parenting model, which I'm going to be launching on Friday this week, but I'll talk to you about it later on. It's relationship versus role in parenting. I hear a lot of parents that I speak to share a concern, and they share a hurt actually. And I hear this phrase a lot where after everything I've done for them, even just saying that word now, I can feel parents' hearts. After everything I've done for them, they don't show gratitude. They don't show appreciation. After all the sacrifices I've made. And when you hear parents say this, it comes from a deep place because they've worked hard. They've provided, they've supplied, they've driven children up and down from one sport to the other, from one piano lesson to the other. They've done so much. Working 9 to 5, working so hard. Then you come and talk of if it's single parents, then that even burden is even more. They've done so much. And yet, sometimes they don't feel appreciated. And I feel this. I hear parents when they say this. I see their hearts. And their frustrations and emotions are valid. Here's the thing that sometimes can be missing, and not missing unintentionally. So we're very good with the roles, providing, cooking, doing all those things that we do as roles in parenting, because that's what we saw growing up. But we're serving a generation now who are more emotionally aware. They're more expressive, they're more sensitive. And so there's an additional layer that we need to start focusing on more in our parenting to this generation. And that's on the relationship. You see, the role that you're doing is very, very important. Please, we're not dismissing the role. Thank you for the role. But this generation is a generation who have so many voices to contend with. And so their heart really matters. And as we guide them, we need to connect with their hearts. And that connection with their hearts is through relationship. It's through the way you talk to them. It's through the way you listen to them. It's through the way you validate their emotions. These are all things that matters to this generation of children. It's through the way that you become an emotional safety for them, where they can come to you and share stuff to you without feeling or thinking that they're going to be judged, compared to, dismissed. They need to know that. And so that's why sometimes parents feel that their children are not appreciated and they're not being appreciated. So you think to yourself, you say, after all I've done, they're being rude, they're shutting down, they're not sharing with me. And what tends to happen is that children who don't feel emotionally safe will automatically shut down. Those are signs that they don't feel safe. So they just shut down. And when I say they don't feel safe, parents, we're not doing this intentionally at all. I want us to remember this. I always need to add this when I'm talking to parents about this. This is something that we are learning. Because we didn't get modeled that connecting, that validating our emotions. When you said, "Oh, I feel sad," our parents would just say, "Get on with it," because they're survival parents. That's how they survived. So we're not criticizing them for that. That's what they did for what they saw in their times. We are seeing something different. This generation of our children are more emotionally aware. We're talking a lot about emotional maturity, emotional intelligence. This is what this generation is about. And so for parents, we've got to get on board with this. I love that Alvin Toffler's quote that I always share his quote. It says, The illiterates of the 21st century won't be those who cannot read or write. No, it's going to be those who are not willing to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And in this parenting journey, there's a lot of learning and there's a lot of unlearning and relearning to do. And the concept of focusing on our relationship is it's a learning concept. Because roles in the past, role was enough. Today, role is not enough anymore. We've got to, the relationship is what makes the role. It will make sense. It will make the role make sense. Because what the role does, the role will shape your child to have those structures, those routines, but it's the relationship that shapes their hearts. And we're going to be talking a lot about this in under this my relationship and growth parenting model that I'm going to be speaking about much later. So what this whole introduction is about is, as parents, let's start now looking. We've done a great job with the role. We've done a great job with the role, and kudos. Let's continue doing that. We now need to balance it with the listening. We now need to balance it with how we speak to our children. We want what happens with the relationship and how you connect with your child's hearts. And the more you build your relationship, the more you build your influence. Influence is not guaranteed under roles. Connection is not guaranteed under the role. It's more guaranteed under the relationship, because the relationship is what connects to their hearts. And so the more you connect to their hearts, the more you connect to the influence. And so what we want to really aim for is, does your child feel safe emotionally in the home? Does your child feel listened to? Does your child feel valued? Does your child feel heard? And does your child feel seen? These are things that matters in raising emotionally aware children in today's generation. And these are things that we now need to learn more and practice more about. A relationship, and making sure that that's a relationship that grows. Because I say this to parents, I say, if we stay stagnant as parents, where we say, you know what, we know everything about parenting, we don't need to learn anything new about parenting, this is it. If we stay stagnant, you remember that there's a quote that says stagnant water stinks. If you stay stagnant, you stink in the relationship, and your children will leave you behind, because our children are going to keep growing. They're not going to wait for us. So we've got to grow as our children are growing. That's the way we can stay connected. That's the way we can stay as an influence in their lives. If not, our children have more voices to contend with. So many more voices to contend with. So the concept of role versus relationship is so, so vital now more than ever. And I know a lot of times we talk about parenting styles, but I want you to see this relationship versus role. It's not about a parenting style, it's more about a lens. This is the lens on which this is the lens that makes everything else make sense. The relationship versus role. It's a lens through which everything else then starts to make sense. Okay, is that what it is? Okay, is that what it is? So that's what I thought I would share today on this episode. This Friday, and I'm going to be sharing more in the description, this Friday on the 5th of December, 7 p.m. UK time, we are going to be having an R&G intro night where I'm going to be sharing with you things about relationship and growth parenting, how you can join us. And I have a little surprise coming up as well at the end of the launch as well, this coming Friday. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of you there. I'm going to share more details on how to register, and we'll take it from there. You're going to hear more about relationship and growth parenting, knowing that parenting is more than a role. Yes, parenting is more than a role. It's a relationship that grows. Okay, that's our tagline, that's our concept, and we're going to be talking more and more about that. And I'm looking forward to it. Yes, I'm looking forward to it because it's a model that helps all different stages of parenting, not just the parenting teams, but all different stages of parenting. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there as well. And remember, please, if this video has helped you in one way or the other, if you've learned something new about, oh yes, I'm great in my role, am I great in my relationship? If this has helped you one way or the other, press the like button, please. Share this with other parents as well, because other parents, more and more parents need to know this concept. It's very, very important because it changes the atmosphere in the homes. It changes the outcomes of your children. They become more emotionally intelligent. They become more confident in themselves. There's just so much that happens when you put on the relationship and growth parenting hat on. And I'm going to be sharing more and more with you. So please subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss out on any of the things that I'm going to be sharing here, the concepts and the teachings I'm going to be sharing right here on this channel on the relationship and growth parenting model. So looking forward to seeing you next week. Looking forward to seeing you this Friday and looking forward to seeing you next week on next week's video. So you take care and remember, I am rooting for you as always. Take care and God bless you. Bye for now. Bye.